welcome back to my channel for my weekly What's for Dinner video. If you're new, my name is Courtney, and every single week I share one of these videos just to kind of share some recipe ideas with you guys, maybe get you motivated to get in your kitchen and get cooking. I know I am always looking for new recipe ideas, and a lot of times I'm looking for some motivation to get going for my day. If you guys enjoy that kind of content, let me know down below. Also, feel free to email me any recipes that you guys would like to see me try out here on my channel, or things you think my family would really enjoy. I do include my email address down below in the description box. And I also have an Instagram, so feel free to contact me there as well. Anyway, this week's video is full of what I'm gonna call pantry meals, a lot of stuff that I cooked that I was just trying to use up out of my freezer and my pantry, because I like to rotate through my stock. That way we're not wasting any food, everything gets used. One thing I do wanna discuss though is changes coming to my channel. I did talk about this on Friday in my Sam's Club haul. I'm going to be changing the scheduling on my channel. So typically these videos, like today, it's Monday, I do my What's for Dinner videos on Monday. I'm actually gonna move those back a day to Sunday. So you can look for my next What's for Dinner video and the rest of them for a while to be on Sundays. My grocery hauls that I typically do on Fridays, that's the big change. That's gonna be moving all the way over to Tuesday. So what's going on is on Thursday mornings, every week I get up, I homeschool my kids, I go out, I get groceries, I come home, I film the haul, I put everything away, I cook dinner, I pick up the house, my kids have karate, and I try to edit the video, add the prices in, and do all that kind of stuff to get it up early the next morning. And that is just really a tight schedule. It's super, super tight. Before my kids had karate, it was a lot easier to plan meals out and things like that on Thursday so I could get this done. But now, including that karate class and everything, I just feel like I'm rushing through my videos. I'm not always doing the best work that I can. And I don't like feeling like that. I want to always give you guys the best videos that I feel like I'm capable of making. So in order to make sure I have enough time to do everything properly, I'm just going to shift that video from Friday over to Tuesday. So if you love watching my grocery hauls, make sure you're subscribed, because they will be changing to every Tuesday. The other change is, a lot of times I put out 3 videos in a week. That's going to change. Some weeks I'll have 3 videos, and some weeks I will only have my 2 videos. I feel like some weeks I don't have a whole ton of time, or I don't have things going on that are really worth filming. I want to only give you guys videos that I think you're really going to enjoy, or find useful or want to watch. So on weeks where I don't have anything going on or anything to film, I'm not going to do a 3rd video. But on weeks where I have stuff going on, I'm doing a ton of meal prep or freezer meals or huge spring cleaning, or maybe something is changing in our homeschool, I will go ahead and film a video on those weeks, and then the rest I'll just do my regular What's for Dinner video and grocery hauls. If there is anything else you guys want to see, feel free to give me some ideas down below in the comment section. I love reading your comments and interacting with you guys and seeing what you think, if you've tried any of my recipes, what you look forward to trying, things like that. So be sure and, chat with me down below. I love, love, love reading your comments and getting back to you guys. Sometimes it takes me a day or 2. Sometimes I do it right away. It just kind of depends on what's going on, but I do love reading those comments. Anyway, I think that is all I had to discuss. Yeah, that's all I had to discuss with you guys before we get into the food. So let's see what it is we had for dinner this week. So the first thing I made for the week was the beef and potato egg rolls. I don't really know what to call them. These are so delicious. They're not traditional egg rolls, but they are just awesome. My sister-in-law made these for us a long time ago, and my oldest son Xander and I just instantly fell in love with them. Most of the rest of that side of the family loves them. My husband, not so much, but he was out of town for work, so I decided that this was probably the perfect time to make these so that Xander and I would be able to enjoy them. They're super simple. I started off by just chopping up an onion and 1 very large potato and a little bit of cabbage. Since it's just for Xander and myself, I'm not making a whole ton. So I'm just using a little bit of this cabbage, half an onion, and 1 good-sized potato. And then I have 1 pound of lean ground beef that I will also be cooking with it. Because the ground beef was very, very lean, I think it was like 93 or something, I did put a little bit of oil in the bottom of my skillet, and then I seasoned the meat with a little bit of pepper. I'm not using salt because we're going to be adding soy sauce to this in a little bit, but I did use some garlic powder. And then I'm just going to break it up with my little meat masher tool there and just get it cooked all the way through. This is so simple. There's not a ton of ingredients, but there is a lot of flavor in these egg rolls. I just cooked the meat until it was almost completely done, but not quite. I did make sure and crumble it down pretty well because we are going to be mixing it with other ingredients. I didn't want giant chunks of ground beef in here. You do want to do your best to kind of break it down pretty well. Kind of think of it more like if you were making tacos. You want a pretty fine, crumble in there. Anyway, once your ground beef is mostly cooked through, then you're going to want to add the rest of your ingredients. Now, if your ground beef is not lean, go ahead and do like the paper towel method or something to get most of the grease out, but do leave a little bit in there. And then we're going to add in our potato and our onion and our cabbage. And we're going to cook that for just a little while. It doesn't take long. It's just one potato, and I diced it pretty small, so this will cook pretty quickly. I think it probably took about 10 minutes for it to get to a nice softened point and start to get a little color on the edges, and that's exactly what I was looking for. It's not, like I said, it's not a dish that takes a lot of time to make. Then I added in some soy sauce. That was probably like 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And you could add in some fresh garlic if you want. You don't have to, but of course that's going to taste fantastic. I just happen to use the garlic powder because it was easier. Once all that's done, we're going to roll these into egg rolls. So I took an egg roll wrapper and I put a pretty generous helping of this filling in it. And then I ran a wet brush around the edges to get all of them wet. And then I'm going to roll it up like a burrito. It really is pretty simple. Make sure your edges are tucked under and make sure the water is there to seal it all the way up. And you're going to have a really delicious egg roll. The trick is to not overfill it, but to get enough filling in there to make it, a good sized egg roll so you get a good meal out of it. But once I had rolled all of these up, I just went to work cooking them. While I was doing this, I had a skillet of about 1 inch deep oil that I had been heating up. So I was able to just pop these right in there and let them start cooking. Everything inside is completely cooked and it's still warm. We're just cooking the wonton wrapper on the outside, and those don't take very long to cook at all. It really is just minutes for these guys to get beautiful and golden and crispy, which is exactly what you're looking for. Keep an eye on them. Don't wander off. It really is not a long process. Once one side gets all nice and golden and delicious and beautiful, you'll flip them over and cook the other side as well. If you have a deep fryer or something, then you could just put them in and they'll cook all the way around. That's probably easier. But I'm just using the skillet and that works just fine too. And like I said, it's super, super quick. Now, once you get done cooking these, you can see I have like a little station set up over there. I have a cutting board with some paper towels on top. I'll set these over there and let them kind of sit and drain for a couple of minutes because they do take in a lot of oil when they're frying. And you want to make sure and let them cool and let that kind of drain out just a little bit so that you don't burn yourself because they are like molten lava hot on the inside. But anyway, serve them nice and fresh because they are best that way. But if for some reason you can't, they do reheat really, really well in your air fryer. Or if you have to, you can put them on a rack in your oven, like, a cookie sheet with a wire rack on top and then reheat them that way. And it just kind of helps to crisp them back up and make them all nice and delicious. But all in all, they are so good. I think that if you make these, they will be gone as soon as you serve them. I don't know that there's going to be any leftovers. I had some, but again, it was just Xander and myself eating these. My younger 2 kids do not like beef, so this was really just for us. But Xander did eat on them for a couple of days after this, and he really enjoyed getting to have them. And there they are, all crispy and golden and delicious. I hope you guys try these. I'll list the ingredients and stuff down below in the description box. So this next recipe is not actually a dinner. I made these for my husband's lunch, but these are so delicious and simple. I wanted to share it with you. It's an egg roll in a bowl. So as I just showed you, I do have some rice, just plain white rice cooking in that pot over there. And then in my skillet, I am browning up a pound of ground beef. I don't remember if this was lean ground beef or if it was just regular ground beef. But I just tossed it in here, and my little meat masher tool was dirty because I had just used it to cook the other stuff, and I tossed it in the dishwasher. So I just had to use a spoon this time to break up the meat. It really made me miss my meat masher. I never realized how fantastic that thing was until I wasn't using it. And I don't think I want to go back to the old school method of just like having to use a spatula or a spoon or something to break up the ground beef. That little masher tool from Dollar Tree really gets the job done. If you guys don't have one, go check it out. They are now $1.25 like everything else. but it's still a fantastic deal because I think at Walmart they're like more than $5. So definitely hit up your local Dollar Tree. Anyway, as the ground beef was browning, I went ahead and added in these onion flakes. I did forget to buy onions last week, so I was having to get creative with other things. I have a bunch of these onion flakes or dehydrated onion pieces, and I used to use this a lot more. Here over the last few months, I really have started just using a ton of fresh onions, but I need to use these up so they don't go bad, so it worked out just fine anyway. Once the beef was cooked all the way through for the most part, I went ahead and tossed in some shredded cabbage and some finely diced carrot. You could shred your carrot if you want. I just had baby carrots, so I just did a fine dice on them. And that's just because you want them to kind of cook at the same pace as the cabbage. Once I got all of that in the skillet and let it cook for a couple of minutes and things were starting to soften, I added in about a teaspoon of some fresh ginger and about a tablespoon of minced garlic. And then I stirred that around and let everything kind of hang out together in this hot pan and get to know each other. I added in a little bit of pepper. You'll notice I'm not going to be adding salt to this, but we are going to add in some soy sauce in a little bit. I did add in some hoisin sauce. I think that's probably about 4 teaspoons right there. I love the flavor of hoisin sauce. If you haven't had it, it's similar to soy, but it's a little bit sweeter than soy sauce. I will also be adding some soy sauce to this, but I always add that at the very, very end. Soy sauce does burn, so I always like to add that as my very last thing at the very end of the cooking process. Everything in the pan is still going to soak up that beautiful umami flavor from the soy sauce, but we're not going to risk burning it. And there I am, I turned off the burner, and now I'm pouring in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. For whatever reason, I felt like measuring things out today, and I was just kind of making it up as I went, but it does make it much easier to write this down at the end of the day and give you guys the recipe. There's a ton of recipes for this online, but I kind of cook it like this every time I do it. You can do this with ground turkey or ground chicken if you want, or shredded chicken, totally up to you. This is the way I usually do it, though, and it's just ground beef and cabbage and carrot and onion. And then I serve it over some plain white rice. So as you can see, I'm making little lunch dishes for my husband. I am starting off with some plain white rice in the bottom of the bowl. You could do this over like ramen noodles or something if you wanted to. Rice noodles, even just plain spaghetti noodles really would probably be fantastic. But once I got the rice all portioned out, I just topped it with all of that awesome egg roll filling. And this is definitely healthier than regular egg rolls because we're not frying anything. There's no, crispy fried wontons. The rice kind of takes the place of that. There is a ton of flavor. Carrots and ginger and garlic and onion and all that brings so much to the table. And when you mix it with beef and all that, you get a lot of flavors going on, and it's really, really delicious. Tastes a lot like an egg roll, not exactly, but it's got its own kind of flavor, and it's really, really good. I packed this for my husband's lunches, and he had absolutely no complaints. All right, so on to the dinner I made for this particular night. This is such a simple meal. This is the Arby's beef and cheddar. So I started off by making some beef broth on the stove, and I've seen people just cook the meat in their oven. I just think it tastes better this way. So I used that powdered stuff and made some beef broth and added in a little bit of Worcestershire sauce to the pan, and I let it get all nice and hot and bubbly. And then I like to just kind of put my roast beef in that for just a few seconds. I mean, the roast beef's not raw. I'm just going to heat it up in that nice simmering broth. And then I just place it on my bun. So on the first one, I've just got French dressing on both sides of the bun. And then on the other one, I have some cheese sauce on one side and French dressing on the other. I recently heard that French dressing is the closest thing to what Arby's uses, that sauce that they have on the beef and cheddar. They call it a red ranch, I think, and this is the closest thing you can get at the store. So I'm trying it for the first time tonight, because normally I just make the sauce that you can find the recipe for online. This was definitely much better. If you guys love Arby's beef and cheddar, use French dressing. It makes all the difference in the world. And I just serve these on usually onion rolls, but today I got, I think they were like everything seasoned rolls, because that's what they had at my grocery store. These are so absolutely delicious. I hope you guys give these a try. Okay, so tonight for dinner we are having double-decker tacos. I think I showed these like one time on my channel before, but I've gotten a lot of subscribers since then. It was like on one of my very early videos. Anyway, this is something we make. It's like a take on something that I think Taco Bell still serves it. I don't know. They may not. I'm not sure. I don't really go to Taco Bell much anymore. Anyway, You can do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to do it the way that my husband and I like it, and I'll just tell you what my son does. Usually I put cheese on these tortillas, and that's what adheres the soft tortilla to the crispy taco shell. If you watch my channel, you know that my oldest son, Xander, does not like cheese. So he will either use guacamole, salsa, taco sauce, whatever. He likes a good double-decker taco. He just doesn't like cheese. But the way that I had it at Taco Bell a long time ago, and the way my husband and I eat it is with cheese. I just got some Rico's cheese sauce here. You could use Cheese Whiz. I've used that in the past. You could even just melt like regular cheddar cheese and then just melt it in here in the microwave and then stick your taco shell to it. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna kind of just smear it on here like this, and then I'm gonna heat this up in the microwave. I actually used this cheese sauce for something the other day, so I had it in my fridge. I used it last night for the Arby sandwiches, and so now I can use it for double-decker tacos. I try to plan if I'm going to have an ingredient like that I don't use all the time. If I'm going to open it and I'm going to use it, then I'm going to try to plan my meals accordingly so we do use it. So now I'm just going to stick this in the microwave long enough to heat up the tortilla and the stuff, so probably 20 or 30 seconds, not long at all. Alright, so those are heated up. Now we're going to get our taco shells, and of course you can have as many as you want. I just put you on my plate. I promise you my oldest will probably have, if I let him, he would probably eat 6. Teenage boys are just like that. He's 19. He just eats, you know. I'm going to have 2. My husband will have 2 or 3. And then we just use these Doritos Locos Taco Shell. You can use any kind you want, but these are really good if you like Doritos anyway. We like Doritos. They are just regular taco shell with Dorito seasoning on them, so it's really flavorful. It just adds something, I don't know, different, you know. So you can totally bake these in the oven to heat them up. I discovered people do that. I did it once and I forgot they were in the oven and burned them. So I'm just going to continue to just open them out of the box and put them on the plate. That works for me. I never thought they were stale or anything. I thought they were fine. I didn't even know they needed to be heated up, so that was news to me. Anyway, they're good this way too. No big deal. So I just make sure the cheese sauce adheres the tortilla to the taco shell, just like that. And it just holds it in place, just like that. Yummy, yummy. And then you fill your taco however you want. I'm out of lettuce, so we're just going to do cheese and taco sauce. I have some salsa over here, maybe some green onions. I'll just show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, there it is. I smeared a little bit of sour cream on the top because I remembered I had some sour cream. I like a little sour cream in every bite if you can do it, so I just kind of spread it across the top. And then chips and salsa, because if we went and ate at a Mexican food restaurant, we would totally eat chips and salsa. Probably way too much chips and salsa. It's one of my favorite things, but that's it. They're double-decker tacos. Crispy shell, soft shell, different kinds of cheeses. I threw some green onions on there, some taco sauce, sour cream, and that is dinner tonight, and it looks super delicious. All right, I'm going to share a recipe now with you guys for something we like to call the cookies. I think I've actually shown these on my channel once before. They might even be just a standalone video for these cookies from when I first started, but these cookies are amazing. I mean, they are so stinking good. Right after I had one of my children, right after I had them, I hadn't even been home for, I don't think, 24 hours. We had to turn around and go right back to the doctor, and we lived an hour away. I was super tired. I wasn't feeling great. My husband was also super tired from trying to take care of me and a baby and everything. And he stopped at Starbucks and he saw this cookie while he was in there, and he's like, I got it because I thought you'd want it. Best cookie I have ever had. Hands down amazing. So I went home and invested some time searching Pinterest and everything and finding a recipe for Starbucks Flourless chocolate cookies. If you just look up gluten-free chocolate cookies or flourless chocolate cookies, you will find a bunch of different recipes that are all pretty much the same. The ingredients are the same. The amounts vary slightly, but the ingredients and everything, the taste is the same. The look is the same. I've used a couple of different recipes and they all come out pretty much the same. The only thing I do differently than what most of the recipes say is the very first thing I showed you was to whip my egg whites into stiff peak form. A lot of them just say mix the egg whites with the powdered sugar, cocoa powder, salt, and dark chocolate. I found that the cookies come out a little bit better, and it's definitely easier to work with if you beat the egg whites into stiff peaks before you start adding in all the other ingredients. So I like to mix everything separately. I've got my mixer going. I put a little bit of vanilla in there with the egg whites, which I forgot to show you guys. Sorry about that. But I'm letting them whip and get all the way up to stiff peaks. And I'm combining all of my dry ingredients together. And then I'm going to whisk everything because, you know, powdered sugar and cocoa powder gets super lumpy and clumpy sometimes. And I don't want that. So I'm going to whisk everything really well and make sure that there's no lumps and no clumps. And the powdered sugar and stuff kind of coats my dark chocolate chunks there. And that helps keep them from, like all settling at the bottom of the bowl when I'm trying to put the cookies out. It just makes life a little bit easier. Anyway, once this is all, I feel like mixed and there's no lumps and everything, then I will gently fold in the egg whites. It does take a little bit of time because I have to be gentle so I don't deflate it totally. So it does take a few minutes to get it to come together and fold it. And at one point, if you do this, you're probably going to think it is not coming together. Nothing's happening. I promise it will. It's just powdered sugar and cocoa powder are funny things. They don't like to mix with moisture. So it is a little challenging to get them to kind of incorporate, but they will. And then you'll end up with a batter. It's not a dough like a typical cookie. It is definitely a batter. I put mine out on a cookie sheet with a little cookie scoop. I find that that's the easiest way to do it. This is a very sticky batter. If you don't whip the egg whites, you have liquid, straight liquid. I hesitate to even call that a batter, and it will pull into one giant cookie. And I don't know, there's just something about it that I didn't feel like came out right when I didn't whip the egg whites up. This just comes out so much better. Anyway, you can see it is all coming together. Just make sure you scrape the bottom of the bowl and that there's no bits of powder or anything left on the bottom. Now, one key thing with these cookies, as I mentioned, they are super sticky. So use a Silpat, use parchment paper like I am. Make sure you line whatever you're using. I've tried just greasing cookie sheets before, and that just really wasn't quite enough. I needed to line the cookie sheets for these. Also, don't touch them until they cool 100%. After they bake, let them completely cool on the parchment paper or the Silpat or whatever for a good solid 30 minutes, if not more, before you very gently try to touch them. These are not like really strong cookies. These are kind of a delicate cookie. They are very different from most cookies you probably had before. They are amazing, but you do have to be a little gentle with them. And as you can see, this yields a pretty big batch of cookies. I don't remember exactly how many I got all together, but I ended up having to pull out a second cookie sheet. It is a lot of cookies. We kind of joke around and say, oh, they're flourless, so they're a little bit healthy. Maybe they are. I don't know. I've heard dark chocolate has definitely got some benefits, so maybe they're not all bad. There is a ton of sugar in them, but, we can pretend it's not that bad, right? They are so delicious if you like chocolate, and especially if you want something sweet but not too sweet. You'd be surprised at how not overly sweet these cookies are. And there they are out of the oven, all baked and delicious. See, they get kind of shiny and a little bit crinkly on top. They're really good. I like them. So this night I made kolaches, which I think I've also shared before on my channel. I did not share me making pizza dough. I just made a batch of pizza dough. Any pizza dough will do. Store-bought pizza dough is fine as well. I just kind of whipped this up in the morning before I left to go run some errands. And then it was ready to make whatever when I got home later. So I kind of kneaded it for a few minutes and realized my camera died. So I switched over to my phone to film the rest of this, which is why the lighting's different. I pulled out my bench scraper and divided my dough into 4 equal sections. As you can see, I do have some smoked sausage right there in the background. I have it divided into 4 equal sections as well. I'm going to kind of just make each of these sections a little ball and set them off to the side. And they are basically going to be like the wrapper for our sausage. If you have not had a kolache before, which from what I understand, I think it's kind of a Texas thing. I do think that there is a recipe for some kind of sweet Danish-like thing called a kolache. Here in Texas, we have these, and they're basically like a sausage roll. Sometimes they're smaller, like pig in a blanket size, but typically they're a little bit bigger because it's Texas, and we like to do everything bigger here. A lot of times down here, you will also see that they have both cheese and jalapenos in them. So mine have both cheese and jalapenos in them, and I'm still working my way through that cheese dip over there. I just use pickled jalapenos. Of course, you don't have to put any peppers in it all if you don't want to. You could put fresh peppers if you really want to do that. Totally up to you. I advise if you do the pickled jalapenos like I am that you dry them off first, though, because they will make your dough way, way, way too soggy. I'm then going to put my sausage in there and then just kind of fold it up burrito style, I guess, and pinch my dough to make sure it's sealed. I'm going to be super gentle with it and then place it on a cookie sheet. Once I have everybody on this cookie sheet, I'm going to put a bit of an egg wash on top of these. This kind of just helps keep it, I don't know, like together and stuff, and it's going to adhere some topping we're going to sprinkle on. It doesn't really turn these like some beautiful golden brown, delicious color or anything, but that's fine. They don't have to be. They taste amazing without any color. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of everything but the bagel seasoning on top because I think it really pairs with this beautifully. You don't have to put anything on the top if you don't want to, or you could just put some melted butter on the top if that's your thing. Or if you have some other seasoning mix that you like, feel free to sprinkle that on the top as well. It's totally up to you. This is just what I'm doing. Some places don't have things on top here in Texas. Some places do. This is just how I make these, and I've actually been making these for a very ridiculously long amount of time. They are so tasty and delicious, and they're cheaper to make at home than to go pay for them sometimes. But there they are. You can see this one kind of burst open, but oh, they are so tasty. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this week's What's for Dinner video. There were a lot of great pantry meals, used up some stuff, and my family really enjoyed them. And plus, I love when the meals are super simple for the week because it just makes my life a little bit easier. And I will definitely say that this week's meals were nice and easy. Next week, I'm also doing a lot more pantry cooking just to use up some things that I have in my deep freeze and stuff like that. So stay tuned if you're into that kind of cooking. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with all of my content. And tomorrow, you can watch my grocery haul. All right, you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you here tomorrow. Bye.